Alright, so I will be trying to go long here. I'll go with just 2 micros. Actually, we'll do it right before. We'll buy in here. I don't know why it's rejected. Why was it rejected? Let's just say I had button here. I'd be aiming for the high there. That sucks. I don't know why he rejected it. I don't know why it's rejecting all my orders. Oh, trade ovate might be down actually. I think it is. So I'm going to. I think they were saying something like that, but I'm gonna just then take it on paper. So this inverse fair value gap should hold price. I want to see how price reacts to this gap. Actually, no, it's not good. There's a chance that we come back beneath this low one more time. So if it doesn't run here and digs deeper into this gap, I'll probably reset this trade and see if I can get long underneath the midnight open as we trade beneath that low there and dig deeper into these gaps, but we'll see. I'll put a tight stop just the low end of that gap because I preferably want it to really run quickly here, start shredding through the higher levels in the premium. We came down and we have the regular trading hours gap, which was mostly filled, right? So that should support price now that we're above it, and you want to measure, look at the 25% level too, the support price and the high end of it. And then the 15-minute chart, I don't know why that's on that. Right, the 15-minute chart. Let me take off position. we've got we had these stop runs, these wicks down, and then we came beneath that low there, completely closed beneath. So that's why I want to see these higher prices. And looking at the 15-minute chart, I would like this down close candle to be a mitigation block or a propulsion block after completely balancing the 14-15 candle, and for prices to go up from there. I'm focusing on that 15-minute candle. I want to see how price is reacting to that 15-minute candle. Now if we're going to close higher, this is where I don't really want to come back, because we've already dropped into there once at 1450, and now we dropped in a second time, clearing out that low. And so if we're going to start to close higher and we're going to start to break these down close candles to the upside, right, this is where I want to see price change its order flow. I'm just waiting for that change in order flow to occur. Let's add a little bit more inside that gap. we're slowing down a little bit as we trade above this short-term high. Alright, so just knowing that, and I want to see it close above that and increase the speed to the high, but yeah, we're seeing a bit of slowdown. It's just higher resistance, but that's okay. I'm also watching this bigger fair value gap. Same thing, I want it to close above that 50%, so now support price. And also I would be looking at this gap. All these things I'd be looking at. Now I want to see price really quickly get up here and not really show the willingness to retrace. So I would move my stop up to break even. Maybe like actual break even. Time feels really slow in situations like this where you're just waiting to see it work out. It's just slowly, moving, not really going anywhere. I just have to remember I accepted the risk. That tiny gap there, if price comes down to the volume balance, that would be unfavorable, but it might happen. But I would expect a gap from that high down to this low to stay open. So my stop is, as you can see, it would just be beneath that at the low end of the volume balance. Now, we can trade up into that, but I wouldn't really want to dig back into it. I want this to stay open. In fact, I don't really want to trade back into this range at all. This range right here, because I'm mainly looking at that range. This should be a breaker or mitigation block, and we should be using that to find support to trade higher. So I believe we've opened up on that 50-minute candle. We've made the low. Now I want to see it close higher and run higher for the rest of the 15-minute candle. Oh, my chart froze for a sec. It's really not looking like it wants to do that. Like, this is really slow. If I was in this on a live, I would have closed or at least taken partials at this high by now, because I usually, my average trade is 5 to 7 minutes. This is too long. Eight minutes left that 15-minute candle. Now let's say, I'd expect this to get hit by the end of this 15-minute candle. I don't really want to see another down close candle form on the 15-minute chart. I would prefer it to expand here, so that would kind of give me a sort of a time stop. If it doesn't occur, I can close early. And that 5-minute chart is really looking lackluster. A lot of pent up price action. I believe we're gonna see like a really quick move. It's gonna work out in seconds, either higher or lower. And I am wanting to see it go higher, but I could always be wrong. I think though is going to go higher. I'm starting to get to that point where I'm becoming not so certain though. The longer I get into this trade, the more I get into this consolidation, I kind of start to maybe doubt a little bit, to question, to see that money, those points that I'm up by, and I start to think, okay, I could just take profit right now, right? And you can't think like that for longevity. I mean, I took the trade and I'm just practicing staying in it, whether it wins or loses. But if I get to that point where it keeps consolidating, I really start to think about that more. Sometimes it's better to just close it, because you're going to be disappointed if it loses. We're not, seeing that explosiveness above this fair value gap, but we are at least closing above 50%. Is proving to be weak. And again, we still have not came down and filled that fair value gap, so I'm still maintaining the same ideas. Let me highlight the gap I was talking about. Or I will use lines instead. Okay, and should be very explosive. Going to sell 10 up here, just half. Move the stop up a little bit. I wanted to keep going up there. I just want to get something off, right? About 20 points. Well, actually 24 points. That's pretty good. want to see that 50-minute gap support price and hold it, not really make it go any lower. So I'm putting my stop to the low end of it, sort of choking out the trade just a tiny bit. Now that should support price with this fair value gap, the 15-minute fair value gap. There's just too many things to really see it push through. It can, but I would rather see it run that high out first before retracing any deeper. We're just too close to that high. I'm gonna take off the take profit in case it blasts through it with explosiveness. At 3 minutes left of that 15-minute candle, really want to see it push up here and run through that short-term high. And you can come short of it, but I want to see an up close, right? So I want to close. It can just stick around here then, I guess, but I want to see that high run out very soon, preferably within that candle, so we have a nice and big body expanding from the discount levels. And then above that, there are more targets. So there's this fair value gap that it's a balanced price range that we could come back into. But then there's the target above that. I could look at 50% of this area. There's the high above that, and then any of these highs really. The last hour we could maybe sweep all of them. Well, I mean not all of them to the all-time to that high, but I mean, you know, a couple of them at least, maybe to a premium if you measure from high to low. Right, so I would say it's about around 20,680. But I would be closing as soon as it gets above that high and it starts to slow down. Again, I really want to see it be supported here. It's digging back lower. We're at 50% of that 15-minute fair value gap, so you know I want to see it get held there. We're forming a little bit of a trend, which I don't always like to see. If we're gonna go higher, it's gonna make it harder and harder for us to keep going higher the more of a trend this becomes. This is why I didn't want to see lackluster price action. I want to see that 50-minute chart close violently higher. We got 1 minute left to the candle, so let's see if it's gonna run up really quickly here. And choke out the trade a little bit more. We're just at the low there. Yeah, I should put it just down there, just about beneath the 50%. Come on, get up there. And just close there. So yeah, I tried to take this on my funded account, and the service is down. So it's okay. Well, I didn't really plan on trading today anyway. But I saw this and I thought, I was tape reading it. I thought maybe I could try with small leverage. I ended up where here's where we could start to really climb and really run off. This is why I wanted to hold on to it, but I was already in the trade for so long that I just decided to close as soon as it got to that high. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not gonna stay for the rest, but yeah, that was it for the execution. The framework to getting into this trade was stemmed from the 15-minute chart. And we had this run higher in the morning, and after coming down, balancing out this whole range, we came down to fill this regular trading hours gap, or nearly fill all of it. But most importantly, we traded to the low of the session, the previous session, closing beneath it. And this prompted me, as soon as 1330 came, this prompted me to start looking for buys. Right, but I wasn't seeing any too much expansion. So as you wait, then you see an expansion. Come back to it, we find support. I got in at the second stage of the accumulation. There's bearish fair value gaps. I waited for an inverse fair value gap. This one here on the white, and this is how I entered that execution. The trade lasted, because it's the afternoon, I'm aware that usually most of my trades are 5 to 7 minutes. Right, the trade did last 26 minutes, so it's a lot longer. The most I've ever held for like 20 minutes this year, but it is in the afternoon, so that's understandable. The last time I held a trade for almost 20 minutes, it was in the afternoon too. So slower price action in the afternoon. I can understand why it took a while, I guess. But there's also no more news. We did the news for the day, so price is just moving back into the range that was left here. So I'd expect it to want to continue running higher till we get to at least a premium. And other than that, that's it.